Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to conditionally style the header background on the index page only. So what I am going to do is go into my index file. So in here, what I'm going to do is pass a prop down. What I essentially want to happen is this to have a linear gradient background on there. So instead of having this primary color in my header component on my index page, I'm going to pass a prop down or name it linear. So what that does is it passes down an object called linear to the header component. So now what I need to do is in my header component, I have in all React applications, we have access to something called props. So what I want to see is within my header component, I want to console.log the props that I now receive from anywhere that is rendering the header component. So if I save it all, and now in my browser, I want to inspect and open up the console. So in the console, I'm now getting an object getting console logged out, which says linear. So we have defined linear in the index page. So I'm passing down linear, which means it is true. So for this particular page, I am passing down linear into the header. So in another page, for example, if I rendered out the header component in the menu page, so if I do that and import that from there, and if I save, and now if I go into my menu page, I will have the menu page with an empty object. That is because I am not passing anything down in that one. Whereas if I go back into my home page and now get an object of linear, which is true. So now to conditionally style the header component, all I need to do is I could do props.linear like so, or a shorthand method of ES6 JavaScript is to destructure. So if I destructure the linear prop from there, what I now need to do is pass it into my styled component. So linear is equal to linear prop, or I could rename this to something else. So within my container, I want to make it have a gradient. So if I name this gradient, which is equal to linear, which I'm getting passed down as true. So if linear is equal to true, is strictly equal to true, so then the gradient will be true. Or a shorthand method is if we just take that out and call it linear, because it will always equal true. In my styles file now, what I want to do is with my background color, I want to make that transparent, and then the background itself, I want to access my props. So the props that I am getting passed down, with the props that I am getting passed down, if there is a gradient prop, so if props.gradient is equal to true, so if it is true, this is a ternary operator where a question mark would be true and these colons would be false. So if the props.gradient is true, I am now going to copy across what I have. So the linear gradient I want. So if the gradient is true, the styling for this background now will be a linear gradient to top to a 0.7 RGBA of black. Otherwise, we don't want the background at all. So I am just going to say none, like so. So if I save now, what will happen is my background will go transparent like so. If I close this, so now my background is transparent. And if I go into my hour menu, it is again transparent. However, there's no linear gradient involved now. So if I go back onto my home page, I can now see that there is a white background behind, but there is also a linear gradient in place. So what I need to do now is give this header a Z index to push the header forward. So give it a Z index of say 10, save. And I also need to give it a position of absolute so that it stays at the top. So now it has stayed at the top and this banner has gone forward. So all I need to do now is stretch it out. So give it a width of 100 viewport width like so, and now we have the banner going in behind, and we have also used conditional styling to ensure that the header will have a linear background on certain pages when we pass down the linear prop or any prop for that matter.